Hi everyone, my name's Colin and this is Colin Talks Crypto. Today is a very momentous day in the land of Bitcoin. We just experienced our third ever halving in Bitcoin's entire history. All right, I'm not sure why I have a picture of an apple pie up there, but needless to say, today was a big occasion. We had the halving of the block reward from 12.5 Bitcoin to 6.25 Bitcoin per block. Every 10 minutes is when this is issued, right? Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009. It started with a 50 Bitcoin per block miner reward subsidy to those who secure the network. Many of us are familiar with this by now, so I won't beat a dead horse. That reward was scheduled to have cut in half every 4 years. So in 2012, we went down to 25 Bitcoin per block. In 2016, we went down to 12.5 Bitcoin per block. Today, 2020, we just had our third halving down to 6.25 Bitcoin per block. So currently we have 1,381 days until the next halving down to 3.125 Bitcoin in the year approximately 2024. Now, as usual, there seems to be a lot of people counting on this as some kind of speculatory event where the price is going to surge to the moon and they can make a bunch of money on it. Well, it's not the case, and it never has been. I don't know why people get fooled into this. I think it's a lot of market manipulation and taking advantage of people who maybe don't understand that this is not a significant event. Don't get me wrong, it's very significant on a long-term time span, but on a short-term time span, it's nothing. And historically, the price has actually gone down whenever there's been a halving. And true to its history, sure enough, Bitcoin had a pretty big drop from just about $10,000, where we almost got to on the 8th of May. And just the day before the halving, the price plummeted down to 86 or 8,400, a drop of about $1,500 in a single day. Now, when we contrast this with the bigger time frame, in fact, if we just go back to the beginning of March, which is what this graph is showing you right here, we can see that we have well recovered from that original lockdown crash, that widespread economy-related crash back in the beginning of March. And the price has been steadily increasing and correcting from that sudden and sharp shock to the price. So in that regard, the drop of $1,500 from about $10,000 down to about $8,500 is not that big of a deal. And you can see on this chart that we are still well above the low that we experienced in March. And in fact, we are still about in the same range before the original crash occurred. So I would consider the halving to be a non-event, as it has been in past years. Once again, yet again, backed up by the fact that there are speculators who try to capitalize on this, what I would consider to be a short-term non-event, but a long-term significant event, and pumping and then dumping as they always have. So no big surprise to me here, but that's essentially what we saw in the past day when the price dropped by about $1,500. Now, one thing I'd like to touch upon is this Google Trends search term relevance. And this is a system where it ranks it between 0 and 100 based on how much it's being searched for. And you can type anything you want here. And the term Bitcoin halving has been increasing. And look at this. Today, it has reached its all-time high for the past year. And that's no surprise because we just had our halving event today. So of course, the number of searches are at an all-time high. The number of people searching on Google trying to find out what is the Bitcoin halving. And we got people like Schiff jumping on board, and we'll get to that in 1 second. But this chart is showing that the search term Bitcoin halving is at a maximum of excitement. Now, the thing that I find interesting is if we look at a longer time span, let's go to a 5-year period on this same search term. You will see that the current search volume for this search term grossly surpassed the previous halving search volume. And I can tell when that halving was just by the fact of this previous peak. July of 2016, we had our previous halving. And to put this in perspective, we're going to modify this chart and cut off the current halving cycle and look at this last one. And you'll see that it looks remarkably similar to today. We have this massive peak to 100 on the Google Trends chart. So that shows that we had the highest amount of interest for the search term back at that particular halving. And you would expect that we would at least match that highest ever search frequency. But actually, we have blown it out of the water to the order of 8 times the magnitude. Even just currently, this line is not yet a finalized line. You can see it's a dotted line. And when that becomes a finalized line, I suspect it'll be even higher. But as of right now, we're more than 4 times. We're about 8 times the search volume for the phrase Bitcoin halving that we were in 2016 when we had our previous halving event. So I'm just showing you that because it tells me that there is more interest than ever by an enormous magnitude. And it doesn't surprise me. In fact, I would have expected this. But this confirms what my suspicions are, that we have more people than ever before looking at Bitcoin. And to me, that just paints the picture that the upcoming bull run is going to be similar. This is a clue that we are on track for the highest ever bull run. Because if there weren't 8 times more people looking at this current halving, then I would be a little concerned. But there are at least 8 times more people. And you know what? One of those people is Peter Schiff. And he was so nice today. He said, "Happy Bitcoin halving to all my hodler friends. But now that the halving has come and gone, what happens next?" I mean, I wouldn't expect Peter to get it because of all the disinformation he puts on the internet every day. But it just goes to show you how much it's on his mind and how much he really loves it deep down. I think that if he was to admit that it wins, his entire business would probably wither away in utter failure, with all his investors being pissed that he missed one of the greatest opportunities, if not the greatest investment opportunity that we have seen in a very, very long time. And shout out to MM Crypto for this awesome little graphic just to illustrate that. We have Peter Schiff here in 3 different time periods. In 2011, when gold was $1,700, Bitcoin was about $1. Today, we have Peter Schiff again. Gold's about $1,700. Bitcoin's about $10,000. And in 2024, Peter Schiff again, and gold will be about $1,700 and Bitcoin will be about $1 million. I think this is actually generally correct. I think that gold will be more than $1,700. But in the same token, I think that Bitcoin will probably be about $1 million within the next 5 to 10 years. So this is a joke, but I think there's some truth to this joke. Gold will go up. Let's not get that wrong. But the amount that gold's going to go up and the amount that gold has gone up historically in relation to Bitcoin's gains, it's not even a comparison. Bitcoin's gains have dwarfed gold's utterly and completely. And it's just amusing to me. You know, he's acting very friendly here. You know, this is a joke when he calls us his friends, because every other tweet that Peter Schiff makes is an attack or making fun of Bitcoin. So he's being very facetious right here. He clearly does not like Bitcoin. And you know what? I wouldn't either if it disrupted my entire business and made a joke of my profits. The right thing to do would have been to jump ship and to invest. The wrong thing to do is to make fun of the successor. So Peter Schiff, I wish you all the best. Have fun. I'll be here to troll you every step of the way. Happy halving event, everyone. It's a fantastic day. We have half the issuance, half the inflation, half the supply increase. And that just bodes well, because you take the supply and demand formula. If you have the supply and you keep the demand the same, or have an increasing demand as the number of eyeballs are portending, then you can only have a one-way direction that the price is going to go. Simple supply and demand formula. You think Peter Schiff would get this, but you know, for all his wisdom, he seems to miss this one point. And that's all I have for you guys today. But I want to tell you that this Saturday, I will be sharing an interview with Roger Ver, where we cover all sorts of different topics, some new, some old, some things you wouldn't expect. And I think you will find it very exciting. Stay tuned, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day.